everybody, it's Kaya from My Boudoir Atlanta. What I wanted to do is basically just walk you through the process of creating and managing a Pinterest board. And the benefit of that realistically is when you're planning with a photographer or even just redesigning your kitchen or whatever it is that you're planning, what it allows you to do is drum up ideas for any sort of concepts that you are thinking of, and it ends up naturally introducing you to new ideas. The other good layer of that is if I'm collaborating with a client and I say, oh, we're talking about doing XYZ theme, even though we are saying these words, we're not necessarily intending and meaning the same thing. So what Pinterest does is it allows us to not only communicate verbally, but also visually. So once you've created your profile, what you'll do is start your planning. So a lot of times for, let's say, hair and makeup, right? You can make either two boards, one for hair, one for makeup if you want to be super specific, or if you want to combine them, that's fine too. This is going to allow you to communicate even with the stylist who's on set that day. So since we provide professional hair and makeup, what we can start with is say, messy bedhead. Maybe I want to be a little unconventional. So what Pinterest does is it, even if it doesn't have the exact words that I'm using, it'll find something very similar. So I'll kind of breeze through this. And let's say I'm scrolling through and I'm like, it's not necessarily messy bedhead, but I like it. So what I'll do is I'll create a new board. I'm going to call this hair and makeup 3 for now. So I've started this board. Now let's say I like this one a lot, but I still really do want something that's actually messy. This one's way too messy, but maybe I like this. So I can go ahead and I'll save that in my board. And if I really like something that I see, I can actually click on that and it's going to take me to other samples that are similar. So you can find people that look more like you. They have short hair, they have long hair, they have super curly hair. Maybe you want something that's braided. Maybe you want something that's like a slight updo, whatever the case may be. I can just start a collection from here. And again, I'm just going to toss in a ton of them because this is just really to explain the process. Maybe I want to try one that's a little bit more down, and we will save that here. But just in case, maybe I'm not quite sure yet. Maybe I want to do boudoir hairstyles. And I can go through and say, this is kind of like a nice in between, like a really loose curl, so I'll save that. But maybe I have thicker hair, so this might look a little bit more appropriate for my actual hair. And then same thing, I'm going to say boudoir makeup. All right, so as I'm going through, maybe I don't know at all like what I'm looking for. So I'll just start scrolling through and figuring it out. Do I like this glossy look? I like a little bit more matte, so I'm going to keep going. Ooh, maybe I really like this look. I love this cat eye. So let me go ahead and I'll save that. Since I like it, I go, you know what? I'm going to say, I think I like the vibe of Hollywood boudoir makeup. So I'll go through and do I like this like softer, more natural kind of look, or do I want something even more dramatic? So this is that like very classic kind of look here. But maybe I like that more dramatic, like dark lip and the cat eye. So I'll save that too. But if I want some glitter, maybe this is something that stands out to me. Let's say I want to do a theme that is based on being a secretary. Now, let me explain why I would do this. So when I'm talking to my clients, a lot of times our studio is fairly unconventional as is, right? The foundation of it is boudoir, but we branch out into beauty. We branch out into kink. We branch out into business, branding, headshots, fitness, etc. Because to me, empowerment really does look different to everybody. So a lot of times we end up kind of customizing those according to that person's life, their needs. What is the purpose of this photo shoot? Is it a gift? Is it a gift to themselves? Is it a birthday photo shoot? Like, what's the goal here? So let's say, for example, when I'm talking to a client, some of the preliminary questions I might ask are, so tell me about your life. What are we doing this for? What do you do in your daily life? What do you do for work? What do you do for fun? What are your passions? So somebody might say, oh yeah, I work as a secretary, or I'm a lawyer, or I'm a nurse, whatever the case may be. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a health coach. That is a theme in itself, right? I could just as easily say, okay, do you like traveling? Oh, you do? Internationally? Yes. Okay, where have you traveled to? Oh, we travel Southeast Asia a lot. Awesome. Have you collected any sort of art, clothing, scarves, anything that can be used as a prop or even just integrated into the background? So starting with secretary, let's say that that's the career path or just kind of a spicy idea they had. So I'm going to scroll through and maybe I say, dang, I really like this. This is like, it's got the stockings, it's got the garter, it's got the button up. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to create a new board. We'll call this the secretary theme. Let me see if it'll let me create. Nope, okay, because I already did this one, so I'll do number 2. All right, now I've created a board. So I'm going to scroll through and say, all right, do I want to go this vibe? Maybe that's not quite what I'm looking for. I want it to be like more realistic secretary look. So I'll keep going. And as I'm going through, I may find some things that stand out to me. Like maybe this stands out to me because I'm showing off the leg in the picture, But I also really like that it's super dim lighting. It kind of creates a sense of like it being nighttime. So potentially, if I like that, I can save it in my board. As I keep going, I'm going to find more. Maybe I really like this feeling of kind of being in a library, so I'll save that too. And if I really like that, go ahead and click on it because there's probably going to be some more images that are similar to that. So right off the bat, I find another one where it's kind of got this library feel to it. I'll go ahead and I'll add that to my board. I'm going to go back and let's see what else so we can get direct secretary looks. Right? Maybe I go, oh, I like this kind of like suggestive, unbuttoning, a little bit spicier look. I'll save that too. Maybe I like something that's kind of just focused on the outfit. Okay. Maybe I like this black and white. Maybe I like this high-waisted outfit. Maybe that's not something I thought about before. So I'll go ahead and I'll add that too. So now that I've done that, what I'll do is I'll actually go back to the board. So let's say I go back to the hair and makeup. So I'm going through and I'm kind of taking a look and I'm deciding, all right, what do I really like? Maybe I'm deciding that I actually really like the messy hair look a little bit more, something a little bit less stylized, and it feels more kind of like organic, more natural. So if I'm not 100% sure, I'll just go ahead and I'll add a star to it because that allows me to kind of distinguish the difference between the two without eliminating the other ones. So I'll do that. But if I get to a point where I say, you know, I'm ready to definitely get rid of this one, I don't know what I was thinking adding it, I can just go ahead and I'm just going to delete it. So take it out. We know we don't want that. Maybe we've decided this is a little bit too done up. It's not quite the look we're going for. Delete that one too. Same thing with makeup. I can go through and decide, all right, do I like something a little bit more natural or do I want something a little bit more glam? Maybe I've decided I want to go more glam than this. This is a glam look, but in a natural palette. So I'll delete that one. And then as I'm looking at these, I say, do I like this where it's a softer eye and a red lip, or do I like more of this like glitter with that red eye combination? So let's say I decide the glitter is too much. Same thing. I can go ahead and get rid of that one. So now when I go to the photo shoot, I'm able to open this up and say, hey, makeup artist, I was looking at these images. You know, I have dark hair. My hair's thick. I actually really like the look of it, like kind of wild, kind of unkempt, but like a lot of body. And then maybe halfway through the photo shoot, we can actually put it up into an updo, something simple, right? We get 2 looks out of 1. Cool. Then when you're talking to me or your photographer, same thing. So we're going through the secretary images, and maybe now that I'm taking a look, we're kind of deciding like, all right, do I like this like very bright and airy look? Do I like this studio look? Or do I like something that feels a little bit more moody and has a little bit more narrative with the environment? So maybe I decide, you know what, I like the environmental look more than I like this kind of like bright studio vibe, right? So same thing, I can go ahead and delete anything that doesn't quite suit the final look of what I'm going for. And feel free to leave this in for a while. It's something you want to marinate on. It's going to help you visualize different dynamics that you hadn't thought of before. It also gives you good ideas for props. So if we're going for that secretary vibe, obviously there's going to be files, there's going to be you know, spiral notebooks and things like that. You can bring in your glasses, but you might be like, you know what, I'm going to bring in this old like, telephone, or I'm going to bring in a blazer, I'm going to bring in XYZ, something that leans into that theme. It helps you choose your outfits too. So you can obviously do a button up, but maybe you hadn't thought about the high-waisted skirt. And once you're actually ready to you know, share your board and start collaborating on the idea itself, go ahead and copy that link. You can email it to me, or if you just want to message me, right? Use it, have fun, let your creativity go wild, literally just start throwing in different combinations of pin ideas and just see what comes up because it's going to really help you start the ideation process. Hopefully that helps you. And if you have any questions, I am here and enjoy the rest of your night.